In the past, we've learned that all matter is made up of atoms and molecules. So the question begs to be asked, what are atoms made up of? Atoms have three smaller parts: protons and neutrons in the nucleus, and electrons that fly around the nucleus in what we call orbits, or the electron cloud. There are two parts of an atom: the inside part, or the core, where you have the protons and the neutrons, and the outside part where the electrons fly around. We call that the electron cloud. Some people call them orbitals. So you have the nucleus and the orbitals. Currently, there are about 115 different types of atoms, most that exist naturally and some that even have been made by man. Okay? So these atoms are constantly moving. They're so small, though, you don't even see them. There's trillions upon trillions of water molecules in a single drop of water. That's how small they are. You can't even see them. But when they combine together and they hang out together, they get larger and larger and larger, and then we can see the product of what those atoms combining form. These 115 different types of atoms have been organized into something called the periodic table. Scientists have devised a way to organize these atoms in order of increasing atomic number. Each different atom is identified by the number of protons they have in their nucleus. That gives each atom its atomic number. So any atom that has one proton is considered hydrogen. Any atom that would have two protons in its nucleus would be considered helium. Lithium would have 3 protons in the nucleus. Beryllium, 4. Boron, 5. Carbon atoms have 6 protons in the nucleus. Nitrogen have 7. Oxygen atoms have 8 protons in their nucleus, and so on. So you can see that this periodic table is set up in order of increasing atomic number. Number of protons tells us what type of atom it is. Here we have an example of several different types of atoms. Oxygen atom over here on the left, and because it's oxygen, I know that this atom has 8 protons. Here's a hydrogen atom, and I know it's all hydrogen atoms have 1 proton. All carbon atoms have 6 protons. Nitrogen atoms have 7 protons. Chlorine atoms have 17 protons. And fluoride atoms have 9 protons. We already established that there's about 115 different types of atoms. And these atoms are constantly flying around and moving around. And as these atoms absorb more heat energy, they move faster and faster and faster. And as they lose heat energy, they move slower and slower and slower. All right? The more atoms move, the more they interact with other atoms. And many times, they form molecules. They either share electrons or they take electrons from other atoms, and that causes them to form a chemical bond, which causes them to join together to form a molecule. So a molecule is formed when 2 or more atoms join together. It can be formed from the same type of atom. For instance, here you see carbon atoms, 2 carbon atoms joined together. In this example, 3 carbon atoms joined together, so they form carbon molecules. Or they can be formed of different types of atoms. You see here, you have nitrogen and hydrogen that join together. Okay? Carbon, hydrogen, and nitrogen joining together over here. You have carbon and hydrogen joining together here. All of these atoms have bounced around until they found a partner where they could either share electrons or give them away, and they've joined together to form molecules. So just as all these single atoms are bouncing around until they find somebody where they could share electrons with or take electrons from, all of these compounds or molecules are moving around as well. And as they absorb heat energy, they move faster and faster and faster, and they bounce off each other. And as they lose heat energy, they move slower and slower and slower. So if these molecules absorb heat from their environment, they speed up. And as they lose heat to their environment, they slow down. And that's where you get into the different states of matter. And we'll discuss that in a future lecture. Right? If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. We'll be circulating the room. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.